Right, so in today's video we're going to be building a raised bed to improve the current flower bed. So we started off by removing all the plants from the flower bed. We decided to keep the bigger plants and to get rid of the smaller plants. We'd put bedding plants in there at the start of the season, but we decided against it once we finally put them in, once the raised bed was complete. We just used a regular garden fork just to loosen the soil, just to make sure we could pull the plants out without damaging any of the roots. So there we go, we've taken all of the plants out of the flower bed, and it's time now to actually map out exactly where the raised bed is going to be. Now before I actually map out where the bed's going to be, I just want to explain just briefly why I'm putting a raised bed here rather than just leaving it as a regular flower bed. Now the reason being is because the soil that we have here at the moment is quite clay heavy, and it's also not very deep as well. It's quite shallow, and the reason for that is that the drain down here is connected to a French drain that runs underneath this clay soil here, and it means that once those roots of the plants go into the ground, they don't really have very far to go until they hit a big massive layer of stones where that French drain is. So by building the raised bed, we're going to add an extra about 400 mil of soil beneath those plants, so it's a much healthier environment for them to grow in. Now we are going to be bringing this bed slightly further across, and we're hopefully going to be able to line it up roughly with this grid here. So we're going to be losing maybe 200 mil either side of this, because we've got to take into account the thickness of the sleeper on this side and also of the thickness of the sleeper here too. So it's probably going to be the exact same sort of depth that we have currently, but it's just going to be shifted over ever so slightly. So I'm going to run a string line up here now so that we can mark out the boundaries of where the raised bed is going to be. So what I'm going to be doing is digging out this small little trench. Now I've put about 120 mil of a gap between each of the sides because the sleepers are 100 mil wide, and what I'm going to do is I'll fill this trench with stones. So I'll have some gravel going all the way through the trench, so that means that the sleepers won't actually be sitting directly onto the soil. They'll be sitting on some stones where the water can drain straight through. The matic's actually cutting through this quite easy, and I think the reason is because this soil here is really nice rich topsoil, whereas over this side there's a lot of clay, so I don't think it'll be as easy when I go to do the same thing at the back. But with the nice topsoil here, just cutting through really simply. So we're not going to be taking the sleepers right up to the actual fence here. What we are going to do is we're going to bring them right up to where this post is here. So the distance from this post to the front of the sleepers is around about 82 centimetres. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one of these sleepers down now to about 72 centimetres, and we'll start to put the frame together before we put any more of the gravel in. Now, cutting the sleepers down to size was probably the hardest part of this entire project, and the reason being is the fact that the sleepers weigh quite a lot. You know, they are quite heavy, and doing this on your own is a bit of a tough task. They are the same sleepers that I used to build the retaining wall that's also in the garden, which was at the start of my garden renovation a couple of years ago, and I had help when I was building that wall. So, you know, doing it on your own is a bit of a task. It is doable, like what is shown in this video, but you will see there are times where I did rely on somebody else to come and give us a little bit of a hand when it came to putting a few bits in place. You can see that I've put each of the sleepers in sort of the rough position that they're going to be in, and this was just to get an idea of the actual level of the ground on all four sides, but also just to get an idea of the relative size now that the sleepers are in place. And at this point I cut the posts down as well, and these are used for inside of the actual raised bed, just to keep everything nice and square, but also to connect the top layer with the bottom layer. Although the sleepers are treated, any cuts that you do make, you do need to make sure that you're actually protecting the actual cut ends of the wood. So any sort of wood treatment from the likes of B&Q, Toolstation, Screwfix will do the job. I had quite a warm day when I was doing this project, so the actual ends dried quite easy once I actually put them out to sit in the sun. Right, so the wood has now been treated and it is time to start putting the actual base of the raised bed together. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create the bottom layer of the frame. I'm going to stand it up right, tilt it back down into the space, and then I'll see exactly where the high spots are, the low spots are. I can then level the perimeter of the raised bed and get the stones down and have it nice and perfectly level. And these are the screws I'm going to be using. So they've got 150mm in length, and that's hopefully going to keep this nice and sturdy together, because they are the same screws that I used when we built the retaining wall. Now I'm going to be very honest in this video, putting the actual bottom layer of the frame together was quite tough to begin with. You'll see that I tried to actually do it on the grass, and then I actually brought the wood over to the patio to make it a little bit easier to actually put things together with having that level surface. It did make it hard when it came to putting the actual frame over where we wanted the raised bed to be, because it weighed an absolute ton. But it was definitely the best port of call. I've never proclaimed to be an expert carpenter, but when it comes to taking on projects like this, even though you might have a plan in mind, you've really got to think on your feet and adapt as you go to whatever makes the job a little bit easier. You can see that I just use a basic clamp to hold the pieces of wood together, just to get the first initial couple of screws in, and then once those were in, I could remove the clamp and just add all the extra screws in, just to make sure everything was really securely put together. So before putting the actual frame of the raised bed in place, I made sure just to dig the trench and put the stones around the entire perimeter of where it was going to be, to make sure that the raised bed wasn't sitting on any exposed soil. And when I say this thing weighed a ton, it really did. So you would definitely need help if you're going to be building it, you know, in a separate place and moving it over to somewhere else. I did pack some stones underneath, but I didn't quite film that part, so I made sure that it was really secure before any of the additional sleepers went into place. And then the next part was relatively straightforward. All I had to do was just make sure everything was clamped and secure in place, and just get everything screwed together tightly. You'll notice from lots of these shots of actually measuring and cutting the sleepers, you know, the usual phrase is measure twice, cut once. I think I might have, you know, measured about 30 times before actually cutting anything. But, you know, if you're new to DIY or you don't do a lot of carpentry, your best bet is just to measure as many times as you can, just to make sure you get it really right, because once you cut into that wood, there is no going back, and you've almost got to commit to the size that you've got. I did have to take a few of the pieces back just to take off, you know, the odd mill or two, just to make sure it's really perfectly square, and so that the pieces will actually fit flush together. But sometimes it is just better to take that little bit extra time to get things right, to make sure you're going to be happy with your project in the long term. And there we go, the frame of the raised bed is complete. Now, it did take a lot longer than I originally anticipated. It was more difficult as well, purely because of the weight of the sleepers, and doing this on your own is probably not the best thing to do because it is quite tough, particularly if you've got little to no carpentry experience like what I do. You know, this video is for someone who is new to all this, who isn't a carpenter by trade. So, you know, it is possible, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. Now, all the grass that I dug up before to replace with these stones down here is in the centre, and also some of the soil from the back too. So I've recycled a little bit of that. But before I put any more organic matter into this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be protecting the inside walls. I'm not going to be using any landscaping fabric, but what I am going to be using is this paint. Now, this is black bitumen paint, and what this is for is just to protect the wood from the moisture that's going to be in all the soil. Now, it's not going to protect it completely in terms of, you know, it's not going to last forever, but what it is going to do is going to increase the longevity of this raised bed. I ordered the brush to go with this, and I didn't realise the actual size of it, which is pretty much the size of the tin itself. This is a tar brush. I've never used it before. I'm going to give it a quick go with this. If it doesn't quite work, I'll get a regular brush out. But, you know, we live and learn, and we'll see what the dealio is. All right, so here we go. Black bitumen paint, however you pronounce it. Let's get this cracked. The old trusty kitchen knife. Now, I've no clue what type of paint this is going to be. It's my first time using this sort of stuff. No doubt there'll be someone in the comments going, oh, you got the wrong one, or it's only going to make it last an extra year or two. Yeah, but it's going to last about 5 to 7 years, this, if not even longer. If you say it's not going to, well, let's tune back in about 5 to 7 years, and we'll see what the dealio is. Can't even get into the tin. Oh, it's potent. Let's try this big Gino brush. Let's see what the dealio is. Oh, I hate this brush already because it's not going to do the job. I don't know. Do we stick with it? Do we change? I don't know. I don't have the answers. Oh, I don't want to dip it straight in like a massive dip because I think it's just going to absorb half the tin, and it's all going to be stuck inside this brush. Let me get another one and we'll see a bit of a comparison between the two. Now, this is the brush that I treated the ends of the wood with, so it's got a bit of you know, wood treatment stuff on there, but you know, I'm treating the wood, so it's not really no one's going to die, are they? Whoa, look at that. Let's have a go with this. Ooh, that looks, is it better? Was the tar brush better? I don't know. Well, all I can say is I'm not sure I'm going to have enough paint, but let's see. Let's be optimistic, and let's hope and pray, because it's about 5 o'clock in the evening, and I'm not going to the tool station tonight. It's not like regular paint, it's quite thick. There's a lot of resistance against the brush, as the bristles. Now, before putting any soil into the raised bed, I decided to use what was in the wheelie bin just to fill the first initial layer. So inside the wheelie bin was around about 2 weeks worth of grass clippings that I'd taken from all the lawns, and the thing absolutely stunk, but it did a half decent job at actually filling the bottom layer. And then I got on with the roll-on beds and borders topsoil. It's their compost mix that I decided to fill the rest of the raised bed with. It was quite expensive, but you know, you get what you pay for with these sorts of jobs. You can do this in much cheaper ways, but I went with the bulk bag purely for convenience. I actually finished the raised bed by around about 8 p.m. the night before. So the next morning we got up and we decided to get the plants in. And like I said at the start of the video, we stuck with the bigger plants just to, make sure that they would fill that part of the fence. They'd go over and give us that little bit of privacy. And once they were in, the raised bed was complete. And there we go, the raised bed is complete. Now, it did take a lot longer than planned to actually put this together, but it was absolutely worth taking the time to get it right. So you can see we've kept most of the plants that were in the original flower beds. We've got 2 red robins on the end, a few other plants that are going to hopefully grow above the fence, giving us a little bit more privacy. And all the plants have so much more soil now to actually get their roots developed into. Now, if you are going to take on a project like this yourself, just a few things to consider. The first one is the time it takes to actually complete it. Make sure you give yourself at least an entire day to get everything boxed off. I started this at about maybe midday yesterday, and I had to finish off by putting the plants in today. So it was quite, a big task all told. But again, that's just because of the limited experience I have working with wood. If you are someone who's used to building things like this and all sorts of other DIY projects, then you're probably going to be fine. And I'll also talk as well a little bit about cost. Now, for the actual wood itself, so that's the sleepers and the posts that are in all the corners, it costs just shy of £240. Now, some of you out there might be thinking that's a little bit expensive, but I didn't have any reclaimed wood or any, leftover wood knocking about. If you are going to be building this exact planter, then you are going to have to invest in getting some good quality sleepers. If you can get them cheaper elsewhere near you, happy days, but these ones are from Jewson, around about £240. Now, in terms of the compost we put in, it was the roll-on beds and borders compost, and we picked it up from Wickes for around about £120. Again, it is quite expensive. You'll see lots of videos on YouTube of people saying, oh, get some logs in there and twigs and all different bits and bobs, but I mean, as you can tell, I've not exactly got a garden with trees and loads of things knocking about that we could fill it with. Yep, we got to use a little bit of the grass that was in the wheelie bin outside, but the rest of it did need to be filled with compost. We are going to be getting some bags of compost to actually go in and around the plants here, just to make sure that they've got some good nutrients there in the soil to help them to establish. And then the bitumen and all the screws and fixings that we got to actually put this together came to around about £40 all told. Like with any DIY project, you can make it as cheap or as expensive as you want to. There might be things that I've done to this raised bed that you think, I wouldn't do it that way, I'd use this instead, or I'd do that instead. Then, go for it. This isn't the only way to build a raised bed. There's so many different ways, but hopefully this is giving you some sort of idea as to how I built mine and how you could possibly build yours if you're thinking of doing one yourself. So, thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to give it a like, and if you'd like to check out any of my other videos, such as my garden renovation series or any of my lawn tip videos, then head over to my channel, and if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. Finally, thanks for watching.